found that two judges from this court, we just found acts of those judges. So I think it's a rather interesting example. So
yeah, it really is a very interesting example. It's precisely an example of this problem of ownership of the infrastructure, you know, that the people who own this stuff really decide what's being surveyed, what's good and what's bad and all that. It's really very interesting.
Government wanted to disallow judges to judge the government. And then they found, we found acts of these judges, and after they made the verdict that it was unconstitutional, journalists from independent media went to this act, and they discovered that those acts was not that judges was cooperating, but they refused to cooperate, even though they were blackmailed to cooperate. So
yeah, it's a very interesting example. I didn't know about that. Thank you.
Okay.
Eine Frage noch? Okay. One more question. Okay.
Yeah, I somehow wanted to question this one statement that the state has to enforce law, because the point is that, of course, there are some laws that the state definitely has to enforce, and these are the ones that are usually taken as an example. So I mean, you already had them, child pornography and things like that. But then, as the technology is installed, it tends to be applied to less and less and less severe crimes. And then, on the other hand, I would assume that once you have a I mean, at the moment there's a natural barrier to trying to enforce some laws on some aspects, because this just cannot be done without technology. But once technology is in place, I would expect that there are even more laws regulating in rather detailed way everyday life. And I am not sure whether people are aware what it would mean that every law that is actually exists in Germany really is automatically enforced. Most people, I think, definitely would not like that. And I think there's even one example. If you look at the information gathered on the highways, most people, by this automatic tax system, most people basically would not care as long as this is not used to determine whether they are driving too fast or not.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, it even wouldn't be possible to enforce all laws, because quite a few are contradicting other laws. But I believe that quite generally it is the attitude of the state to use this infrastructure to enforce laws. And I mean, you can't really argue against that. Of course, that is something which you can say, well, there has to be some relation as to how staunch, how strongly you really enforce law. But I just believe that for any sort of public political discussion, it's a bad argument to just say, well, they don't have to enforce the law so badly, you know. I mean, that's just all I wanted to say. I'm not in favor of enforcing laws so very strongly, but I just believe it's not a good argument to argue against that particular case. Okay, then that's the end. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you again.